So up next we have Nina, and I can't pronounce her last name, so I'm gonna have her do that when she comes up. But Nina is originally from Georgia, but grew up in Hawthorne, New Jersey. She studies political science and loves to write poems and sing. So now for our final talk, please give it up for Nina.
Hi everyone, my name is Nadirashvil, but in America they call me Nina. I am talking about immigration today. The topic of my talk is immigration. It's called 18 Hours in 10, subtitle, Losses and Gains of a Flight to Murica. For anyone who might think otherwise, let me set it straight. This is going to be my life story, but I think it might also be a story of many others, and that's why I think it's important to talk about it. Second, I want to preface with the fact that I have fallen in love with this country in the past 5 years, but I've also noticed some flaws with it. And since I view America as something of a city on a hill that everyone should look up to, I think it's really important to address these flaws and talk about them. So that's really the main reason I'm here today. I have note cards because I'm a freshman and I can get away with it. So I was born at a time when my mom had a pixie cut and the lights went out on a daily basis. Let me set the stage. It's the 90s. You live on the 10th floor of an apartment building, and around 7 p.m. the lights fail for most of the capital city, and you sit in the dark. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, the lights come out. And imagine people going out on their balconies in jubilation. I mean, there's flags flying, national anthem in the distance, gun shooting, fireworks, people singing, and then the lights go out again. Good times. So that's the kind of atmosphere I grew up in, and it was basically the best thing I could have asked for. I was brought up in a big, loving family. I mean, we had our problems, but then again, what family doesn't? My friends were lifelong. The 7 girls that I became best friends with in 3rd grade are still my best friends today. Our class consisted of 32 kids that stayed together through 12 years, so we became pretty close-knit. Geographically, Georgia belongs to the Middle East, but culturally, it leans more towards Europe. This is the capital. Let me show you. There we go. I lived right there. Now, I do want to mention this sort of not belonging that I feel, even more than most immigrants, because I can't be put in a specific category. I'm not from Britain. I'm not from Italy, so I'm not considered European. I'm not Hispanic. I don't look Japanese, Korean, Chinese, so that's what comes to mind when you think of Asian. And I'm not Muslim, so I can't possibly be from the Middle East. But the point is that we need to stop categorizing people on the preconceived notions that everything outside of the US can be put into simple terms. I guess I should mention the war of 2008. Those 3 days in August might have been the only reason any of you have ever heard of Georgia. So here's the kind of breakdown. Russian government has been the big bad in the Caucasus region for a while now, and I guess one day they decided to take some more of our territory. I don't understand why, because as you can see, we're kind of the size of Connecticut. But they did. I was never in the site of the confrontation, but I still experienced it, and it's interesting to hear about it in history class, but it's not that fun to experience it in person. I remember my dad calling our priest and us buying a lot of food, and then I remember us packing again and decided to drive a little further. There's this specific memory that I have of us all sitting in the car, deciding to drive out of the capital city, being stopped by soldiers saying, "They're coming to the capital, they're coming in, go to your houses, hide." Years later, I seem to come across the after effects of the war. We met a Georgian woman in 2012 in New Jersey, where we live now, and she shared with us that her father had been a victim of the war. I guess I was scared experiencing it back then, but I don't really remember the feeling. The thing is, I know that because of it, I'm a little different now. This might be a good segue into my discussion of Russia. Have you noticed how much Americans hate Russians? Have you noticed how much crap we say about them and get away with it? I mean, we take the whole country, judge it, prosecute it. And the truth is, I have all the reasons to hate the people, But I understand that there is a sort of a line between the country and the government. I mean, I hope not all of you are exactly like George Bush. And let me tell you a story about this. So junior year, I was selected to go to a conference. It was a leadership conference, and that was closely connected to political science and government. And I was really excited to go. But the catch was that I had to go for an interview. So I dress up in my nicest clothes, my hair all slicked back in a ponytail, and I go with 3 other girls that were also chosen from my school. And the first thing that they say is, would you like some pizza? Now, I don't know if that's a thing Americans do, but before an interview, I think you shouldn't eat pizza. So I don't eat the pizza. Might have been my first mistake, but I don't. And then I go in for the interview, and I have my resume. I tell the lady how excited I am, how interested in politics I am, how I'm going to be in government someday, be a lawyer, you know, I'm going to make a change in the world. And then she looks at my name, and she halts. And she goes, where are you from? And what I usually say is, I'm from Georgia, but then I get this weird look. So I'm like, oh, it's a country, not a state. It's next to Russia. And then came the line of questioning. She said, where are your parents from Georgia? Do they speak English? Are they here legally? Are they working? Are they planning to stay? When did you learn English? How long have you been here? And I kind of answered these questions because I was terrified and because I thought that was normal. And then when I stepped away from it and asked the other girls if they had been asked similar questions, they said, no, we just asked us what we liked to do in high school. And I thought, that's weird. So I go home and I look up this organization. It's called the American Legion. Turns out they were founded during the Cold War to combat communism. And I guess someone in there had the idea that I was still part of Soviet Union and that I was a commie. And I didn't get the spot. I was the only one of the 4 girls. And there could have been other reasons for it, but it didn't make it okay what they did. So Russian hate, it kind of affected me too, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I guess a hate towards one foreign nation is a resentment towards all of them. So that's my couple of cents about the enemy. You want to talk about friends? During the war, Georgia was in dire need for help. And we got minimal support from America because, you know, this country loves to be Switzerland unless there's something to gain. But that wasn't a big deal. The thing is, a couple of weeks ago, I went to a screening of the Republican debate here with the political clubs. And I was one of the 7 people left after 3 hours, right? And I hear behind me this guy go, you know, I really like Ted Cruz, but I can't get over the fact that he's from Canada. And I think, all right. So I chuckle, and I will never shut my mouth. So I turn around and I go, oh, so if it was between Trump and Ted Cruz, like, who would you vote for? And he says, I think it's my duty as an American to vote for Trump. And I halt, and I say, you know, I think it's your duty as an American to not let Trump win. And then he asked me, because it's obvious to him that I'm an immigrant, where I'm from. And I say, oh, I'm from Georgia. And he says, well, you know, there's still Russian military in Georgia, and us guys, apparently, are asking for your help. Like, Georgia's asking for America's help. That's the kind of things I've had to deal with here. That's the bad side of it. Yeah. I'm going to apply for citizenship soon. I'm going to become an American because I love this country, and you can bet I won't be feeling like it's my duty to vote for Trump. Okay, so far I might come off as a hater. So you might say, like, why are you here? What are you doing here? And I'm going to share with you a little secret. Murica is asking for it. What I mean by that, there's this lottery that goes on that you guys don't know about, where you can apply for it and you can get a green card. So how it went down is my mom just applied. She satisfied the requirements. She got the green card. And then July 2010, we were on a plane coming here. July 11th, 2010, we landed. It was an 18-hour flight, but we gained 8 hours, so when we landed, it was still day. And the airport experience was one of the worst things I have ever come across. I mean, they show us through the customs line. We don't know English. I'm somehow the spokesperson for the whole family because I don't know why. And they push me forward, and the customs line is 150 people long. It would have taken us 4 hours to get to that customs person. But thankfully, this really nice gentleman let us cut the line because he saw that there were so many kids. I have 3 siblings. So we walk up to the customs line, and this is kind of the moment that they tell you in history. You know, when the immigrants came on like the ships and they looked at their documents, and if their name was too long, they were like, nope, go back. That's kind of the situation that's going on there. I mean, we had left everything behind, and I was standing there sliding my documents under that little screen thinking, oh, this could turn out really badly. Thankfully, as you can probably tell, it didn't. Everything was in order, so they let us go through, and then we had to get our passports stamped. And how long does it take to really stamp a passport? I mean, 5 seconds, and if there's like 50 people, I'll give you maybe 30 minutes to do all of it. What really happened was there were these 2 airport workers with gloves on, and they were stamping passports. They would take off their gloves, they would chat with each other, they would drink coffee, talk about Gossip Girl, then they would get up, go to the bathroom, come back, maybe take a walk, and then they would stamp another passport. Now, we are exhausted. My sister is crying, she's 3 years old. We want to fall asleep, but we're too scared to fall asleep. And you know, my mom actually said later that if she had a chance back then, she would have just come back. That's the kind of difficulty that you come across the first step that you make into this country. And I think that's so terrible, because you've left everything behind to come to have a better life, and they scare you, they terrify you, they keep you in the airport for 8 hours. But you know, we got out of there, and we drove back past the Bronx that night, and then we saw a skyline of Manhattan. And I think we drove past Hunts Point, which is one of the worst places to drive past. I don't know why we did that. And I think that was the first time I understood the amount of possibilities that were given to me. But I also understood that I had to work my butt off, because otherwise I would end up in the former place, not the latter. That's the sort of thing all immigrants feel. We appreciate the amount of opportunities that have been given to us, and we work very hard so we never end up in a place that is anywhere near the one we ran from. Most immigrants, especially women, tend to have 2 jobs when they come here. They either clean or they take care of elderly people. But my mom, she went to community college for more than a year for English classes so she could have a job that she enjoyed, and my dad drove an hour every morning to Manhattan so he could learn about an industry that he knew nothing about. And you know, I never heard them complain about it, and I never heard my siblings cry that they were outsiders in their grades or that they didn't understand the teachers. And I guess it's a natural instinct that when people are sniffing for fear, you show no weakness, and it's kind of what we did. What else? Okay. So along came middle school. Honestly, I remember that year in black and white. Like, when I remember it, there's this music that goes in my head. It goes da-da-da-da, like when I remember middle school. It was terrible. I did not know English. Teachers were not the nicest, making a big deal of my last name. My reading teacher made me read the first day of class, and I didn't know English. It was in 8th grade that I realized that I had to throw away my shyness. I came to terms with the fact that if I kept myself the way I was coming to this country, I would be labeled a shy foreign new girl, and I wasn't about that. So I changed myself, and maybe today's society frowns upon that, but I'm really proud of that change because it made me more outspoken and driven, and that got me here. But prejudice and preconceived ideas are hard to stay away from, and that's when high school comes in. Freshman year, I was in all honors classes, but they did not offer me advanced math because, you know, apparently an immigrant girl cannot possibly be good at math. But, you know, from what I've told you, kind of know me a little bit. Do you think I would let that happen? I was possibly the first person in Hawthorne High School history to take a summer school class in geometry every single day for the summer for 7 hours. But I did it, and then I was in smart class all of a sudden. And honestly, it was one of the best things that I ever did because I met 2 of my favorite teachers through those advanced math classes. Okay, what's next is about to shock you. Look at this. Yeah, baby. I sang the national anthem at high school graduation. Yeah, let that sink in. Over the land of the free, that was me. And then they selected me as one of the 2 kids whose names are gonna be on a golden plaque nailed into the wall of the high school forever. So you see, this talk is mostly about gains. I applied to Boston College senior year. I whined and I cried about my struggles in my essay, which was really weird because that's not accepted in my country, but here we can't vote for a voice contestant unless we know, like, if their dad did drugs or something. Like, it's really necessary for us to know that. Yeah. So I got in anyway, and I got a good financial aid package, and I'm here. So I really love America for that. So now I'm here, and I don't go out partying every single day except for Tuesday, like a lot of my high school friends, because I have much more to lose. The US gave me a future. I'm not about to give it up. I think a lot of others that have a similar history to mine feel like me, and we've had to work a little harder. The responsibilities of an immigrant kid include, wait, let's see this funny meme first. That's so true. This is so true. Yeah, but the responsibilities of an immigrant kid include paying bills, calling the landlord, going to a car dealership, doing taxes, getting insurance, and never asking your parents to fill anything out for high school because they don't know how to do it. Independence is kind of shoved down your throat, so then you don't go crazy about it in college. I'm going to be successful in the future, and I plan to pay back what has been given to me tenfold. My parents are hardworking people. My mom is a pharmacist. My dad removes asbestos from building sites, so they kind of both make sure that people don't get sick. That's a good damn reason to keep them around. A lot of immigrant families come here and they rise up and they work day and night and they improve the society. So please, let's never think about closing the doors, because this whole country was built by people seeking a better life. If any of you looked at immigrants as inferior before, that's what I have to say to you. Well, it's actually dishonoring you. It goes like this, but it's not working right now. But I hope you change your mind. I also hope you can point to Georgia on a map now. But mostly, I hope you see how important it is to talk about this issue, not as a problem, but as something that contributes to the improvement of the US. Next time, let's talk about immigration in a positive tone. And then, wait, this slide is supposed to go like this.